wasn't doing it for me. So how can I ask you to take me seriously if I'm living in somebody else's shoes?
And nobody can do what you do, and I think that that's a big problem that people face now. Like, you see what somebody else is doing and you want to do that when that's not your lane.
That's not your lane.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's popular. It's getting that person money. It's getting that person applause. Oh, I want applause.
Right.
I want money. Let me stand over here behind them.
And then a lot of times people aren't honest with themselves either. Like, I was thinking earlier today, I've been woke for almost 2 days, so so you get honesty, yes. And I was thinking, like,
the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing!
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Be Exposed Radio.
It's a family affair if you want to look at it that way.
It is. I totally agree, and I believe I believe that this wisdom on the wall is going to be a movement, and that's what I believe we are doing. Is we're creating a movement where people essentially, even after we've presented in these workshops, then they'll be inspired to sort of document some of the things that they've gone through and empower somebody else. So it'll be like a chain effect. So they'll see that, we were just 3 women who have gone through various things and experiences in our lives, and we just took the opportunity to sit down, put it in a book, and then it'll be a movement, and then other women will be inspired to do the same thing. Let me tell you, we are better together. We are so much better together, family. I'm telling you. When we band together, put our resources and our experiences together, we can create a movement, and that's what it's about, inspiring people to do more than what they may currently see of their own lives, that they can do so much more. So, yeah.
You are exactly right.
Be Inspired Radio Show. Tune in every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You want to start off?
I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles.
Right.
They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run. The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course, one with a home run.
Hit the home run.
Right.
They were going into that national series. It seemed like they were doing so well, and they just crapped out. They got that game postponed, so who knows when they're going to replay that or play that game. That's my first not for the night.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and weigh in on my who's not, and I'm going to talk about the San Diego Padres.
The Padres. That's okay. You just took my answer.
They're in last place in the NL West. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Their run differential is a negative 65, which is just horrible. So when you have, well, let me just talk about run differential a little bit. It's kind of like the
How much you're winning or losing your games by, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. It's like the margin of victory, kind of.
Right.
So when you're in a negative number, that means that you're.
Then your average game you're losing
by a whole lot.
Right.
I mean, a number like negative 65, this early in the season is pretty rough.
That's horrible.
Then the pitching numbers pretty much support this stat right here. I mean, the team ERA is 4.70, which is 26th in the league. They have 126 walks allowed. They acquired Jared Weaver in the offseason, and he really has not panned out. He's off to one of the worst starts in any of the pitchers in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
He's 0-4 with a 6.05 ERA. In May alone, he already has 12 earned runs in May. And, another one of their pitchers, Clayton Richard, he's 2-4 with a 4.34 ERA. And, in May, he has 6 earned runs and 12 innings pitched. So they're not pitching well. And on top of that, they are also not batting well.
Right. But it kind of sucks because Manuel Margot is doing pretty good. His the past few at bats, his last.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
It's time for Flashback.
Now, I'm not going to say all Aries don't know, but
it's just the one you had. That was just
a particular one, But it's always something that you can
go ahead, Bliss. Can you recollect any signs that you might not get right? Wait. Hold on, wait a minute. Demonstrate. You got to demonstrate the back.
No. Ain't no way.
Not the good. How they bust? Let me show how they bust.
And they want to cry afterwards. I mean, what the is the point of the tears? I mean, I can see you shake, and shake it off real quick, but you crying? Out of here.
What was he crying for?
Cause baby, this make that. You in? I got that good. Nasty bitch. The shame.
McLean's Couch every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey, girl. School zone.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Yeah, Kescia's in Europe right now. She's off having some fun. She's like in Croatia right now, I think. So good for her. She's having fun. She deserves it. Behind the scenes, she puts so much work into the show. So I love Kescia. Definitely appreciate her, and can't wait to have you back though. I had some people lined up to come in tonight. Schedule's kind of conflicted, so it's just me. But I think there was a big enough weekend and a week in sports that we should be able to keep it going. You know, the intro, we usually try to hit the menu, what's going down around town, what we did. This weekend was phenomenal weather. It was rainy all last weekend, and this weekend was just sunny and bright, so I took my son out and we just kind of enjoyed being together and going out doing fun things. Nothing huge, but it's time that you spend with the people that you love. That's what matters most. I think the biggest thing that happened this weekend, though, in the city of Baltimore, actually it wasn't in the city of Baltimore, it was in the city of Pittsburgh. Sunday was the Ravens and the Steelers, and nothing is bigger than that game in the week leading up to it. And it had a lot of competition, not necessarily great competition, but the Orioles finished up their season on Sunday. The historically bad season. They finished, 47-115. It was the worst record in franchise history, going all the way back to when they were the St. Louis Browns, when the franchise first started. That's just, it speaks volumes unto itself. What else happened this weekend? Kescia took off Friday. Actually, speaking of last week, shout outs to the Brass Tap and Michael Lowenthal, who hosted us. It was our first remote show. Had its hiccups. We kind of expected it, but we had a great time. Brass Tap on Mount Royal Avenue, down there by Micah, and they welcomed us, gave us our own little spot, and we cut it up and had a great time. It was rainy, which apparently doesn't do well for business for them, so it wasn't totally crowded. I think that actually was better for us, so that we could comfortably handle things, but we interacted with the crowd, and we had a great time. We were throwing out predictions for the Ravens Steelers. We actually gave our real predictions on Sunday on the Jabbo Extra right there on the Facebook site, which is, if you're not watching us on Facebook, you're checking us out on YouTube, Periscope, Google Play Podcast, Apple Podcast. You know where to catch us. All throughout the week, live Monday nights, 7 to 9. Share the link, share the love. That's what we always say here. Okay. So, but yeah, major shout outs to the Brass Tap. Michael just welcomed us with open arms, and we had a great time. And can't wait to try to do that again. We'll see what happens. And now that we have that experience under our belt, really looking forward to it, and maybe having some of you join us out there. Again, though, Steelers Ravens went down on Sunday. We're going to get into a little bit more later, but that's a game that always has drama, always has emotions running high, and this weekend was no exception. Steelers are kind of in a downfall right now. They 1-2-1. That record speaks unto itself. First game of the season, tied with the Browns, and you know, it's always a good thing when the Ravens beat them. But going into the city of Pittsburgh, I gotta shout out Jaina and just a whole bunch of people on my feed, on my Facebook feed, actually in Pittsburgh, in that Toilet Bowl stadium, representing the Ravens Nation, just cheering on the boys in purple to a win. And it was an amazing game. It was an amazing weekend. Again, we're going to talk about it a little bit more later. But tonight, there is a game. Monday Night Football, opening segment lately since football season started. We've been previewing the Monday night game. It's about to go down tonight in about an hour. We have the Kansas City Chiefs, Mahomes. The Mahomes story is just driving the NFL right now. There's a ton of stories, obviously, in any NFL season, but Patrick Mahomes is just such a huge story. So we're going to see how he can do in the city, Denver. Case Keenum has kind of, if you watch the show, then you know I have love for the Broncos. Before ever moving to Baltimore, I was a Denver Broncos fan. They still have my heart, too. I'm a two-team kind of guy now. But Case Keenum has not been what they expected when they signed him. I was excited for them signing him. I expected a lot out of him, and so far it has not been up to the standards. Jacob Moore says, so do the Steelers. Yeah, I'm going to get into it. I want like a longer segment to talk about it more. And yeah. Again, Case Keenum, he has not impressed me with the Broncos. How they have a 2-1 record is kind of surprising. The Chiefs, they're going in 3-0. They're the lone AFC team with a perfect record at 3-0. I love Broncos. Mile High is an amazing stadium. They always do well there, but I can't see them going in or defending their home field tonight. Mahomes. Denver's defense is not what it was when they won the Super Bowl a few years back.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You want to start off?
I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles.
Right.
They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run.
Mm-hmm.
The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course, won with a home run.
Hit the home run.
Right. They were going into that National series. It seemed like they were doing so well, and they just crapped out. They got that game postponed, so who knows when they're going to replay that or play that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first not for the night.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and weigh in on my who's not, and I'm going to talk about the San Diego Padres.
The Padres. That's okay. You just took my answer.
They're in last place in the NL West. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Their run differential is a negative 65, which is just horrible. So when you have well, let me just talk about run differential a little bit. It's kind of like the
how much you're winning or losing your games by, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. It's like the margin of victory, kind of.
Right.
So when you're in a negative number, that means that you're
then your average game you're losing
by a whole lot.
Right.
I mean, a number like negative 65, this early in the season is pretty rough.
That's horrible.
Then the pitching numbers pretty much support this stat right here. I mean, the team ERA is 4.70, which is 26th in the league. They have 126 walks allowed. They acquired Jared Weaver in the offseason, and he really has not panned out. He's off to one of the worst starts in any of the pitchers in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
He's 0-4 with a 6.05 ERA. In May alone, he already has 12 earned runs. 12 earned runs in May. And, another one of their pitchers, Clayton Richard, he's 2-4 with a 4.34 ERA. And, in May, he has 6 earned runs and 12 innings pitched. So they're not pitching well. And on top of that, they are also not batting well.
Right. But it kind of sucks because Manuel Margot is doing pretty good. His the past few at bats, his last.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
My name is Ruth Rusey. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live United. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about...
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Are you thinking about getting your GED diploma? Well, here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a number of pep talks that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You know that feeling? People look at you and don't believe in you.
You want
Welcome back. Just a Bit Outside radio show on BeExposedRadio.com. You're checking us out on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Google Play, Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Throughout the week, live Mondays. Check us out. Share the link, share the love. If you're checking us out, just share the show page, share the show. We appreciate you checking us out. Before the break, I was talking the Chiefs Broncos. Case Keenum has been a disappointment as far as I'm concerned for the Broncos, and I just don't see the Broncos being able to pull out Monday Night Football, even though it's at home. I'm not going to give a score because I think Patrick Mahomes might just shred the defense. But we'll see. It's definitely going to be an interesting game, I think. It's definitely going to set the pace for who's going to lead the AFC West. Jacob Morris. Yeah, Ravens suck. I'm not sure we'll agree with you on that one, but everyone's entitled to their opinion. But let's get into it. Ravens, Steelers. Jacob, if you're a Steelers fan, I'm not sure if you have a leg to stand on this week. I think what the game came down to yesterday was 3 quarters that the Ravens put together compared to the Steelers putting together one good quarter. That second quarter, the Steelers, and Raven fans are used to it. Ben Roethlisberger can bring a team back and take the lead and do his thing. As good as Tom Brady, everyone knows it. And it looked like in that second quarter when they tied it up 14-all that's exactly what they're going to do. Shout out to the Ravens defense for keeping the Steelers in check. I read a stat. I think they were like 3 of 11 on third downs. The Steelers, maybe even 1 of 11. The defense kept them contained on third down. There's no doubt about that. The offensive game planning on the Ravens stands out. Marty Morningwig just put together something amazing that even though the score wasn't high, 26, they were able to establish that lead, keep that lead, and do everything that they needed to in order to pull out the W, and that's exactly what they did. There's one thing I did want to touch on regarding the game, in that we started this people's poll, and the same day as the game, before the game, I put up a poll. I know everyone doesn't like that there's only 2 options. We're working on it. We're trying to get more than 2 options. Facebook, you have to be a page, not a group, or a group, not a page, in order to do more than 2 options. We're a page trying to establish something that will give us the more options. So we're working on it. We agree more options are good. Everyone loves options. But the people's poll I put up, who did you think needed to really perform the most? Who were you looking to help this Ravens team secure the W on the Steelers? And I was watching this thing all the way up until game time. And as Kescia likes to say, the people got it right. And I gotta say, this was the closest people's poll since the start of the season when we started doing this. 2 choices, offense, defense. Who was gonna need to perform the best in order to get this W? And all the way up until game time, this poll was separated by 2 percentage points. It was like 48.1 to 50.9 in favor of the defense. Since the game started and the poll ended this morning, more votes went to the offense. It ended like 52-48 offense. But at that even of a split, you just got to say it had to be the team. And that's exactly what it was. Defense did what they did to contain, befuddle, and keep Roethlisberger from doing what Roethlisberger does. And offense, they put up the points. They did what they needed to do. And hell, special teams, Justin Tucker, he's always good. So you just can't discount that. Excuse me. If you're watching, you see our little friend here. Give him a name. Oh, see, he's sad. He doesn't have a name yet. Speaking of offense, Joe Flacco. Kescia doesn't like him, you know that. Mr. Alexander, I know how you feel. But I think the numbers don't lie. Flacco has been doing phenomenal this year. Headed into preseason, I know NFL teams are always going to try to spin stuff to the best possible outlook. And the Ravens, no exceptions. They said that Flacco was
some gentle encouragement.
Then you're on your way to your GED diploma and a better life.
But I know they're probably just a little bit nervous. You can find it in yourself to take that first step.
You can improve your future. You can do this. I know you can.
You need to start pushing yourself.
Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up! Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need to get your GED diploma, we've got a pep talk that's right for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and find free GED classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education, brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Here's what you missed on Salacious Life Radio.
You know, when it comes to your children, especially if you're dating someone that you actually like, you do want it to work. So you're gonna hope and encourage the relationship between your child and that person because you like that person, you know, so you're gonna hope for the best. I mean, sometimes it just doesn't work and you can't make it work. You can't force it. It's like a branch. You keep bending it, eventually it'll snap, and even if you put it back together, it'll never be what it once was. But you definitely pray on it. You hope for the best, you know, because like nobody wants to spend the rest of their life alone just because a particular relationship didn't work out, but you had this beautiful creature as a result of it, you know. But you don't want to necessarily and you're not all of a sudden a bad person. You're not all of a sudden not going to fulfill this other person's needs.
You, madam, are a harlot and a scoundrel.
Because I had one kid while I was still married. Like,
but what if you?
I take that back.
What if the situation turns around the other way? So you ready for your child to meet? They meet the person, and this person is a giver. So this person's buying your child lots of gifts and wanting to.
I would usually.
Do you let?
You don't like if it's a birthday or some sort of holiday or something like that. Okay, and they want to get them a few things or get them something. Okay, but just on like a regular basis, like unless it's like Nestle's Quick or something that you can get from like, you know what I'm saying, or like Kit Kats or something like that. Like, no, don't spend a lot of money on.
It's unrealistic. I'm sorry.
It's unrealistic. Like, don't try to buy his.
Tune in live to Salacious Life Radio every Wednesday from 9 to 11, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back. Just a bit outside radio show on BeExposedRadio.com. You're checking us out on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope. You know the ways of checking us out. Share the link, share the love, watch us, listen to us. Come on down and join us if you want. Before the break, I was talking about Flacco. Joe Flacco. Hello? Yeah. Hello? There's something in my ear. Joe Flacco this season has looked amazing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. At the beginning of the season, at the preseason, Ravens said he's looking the best he has in years. A lot of doubters. The last 3 seasons, he has not been good. He was coming off injured seasons, 2 major injuries, including a back surgery. And it was easy to doubt him. But the numbers he's been putting up, it's hard to discount him now. In Pittsburgh, he put up, 363 yards. It was an amazing effort on his part. I'm a huge fan of this tandem he has with Smoke, John Brown. I had a feeling in the preseason that they were just kind of testing them to see how they worked. And I was afraid that when the season started, they weren't going to keep them together as much. And you could argue that they haven't, because in yesterday's game, Flacco had 11 receivers catch the ball. 11, that's a huge number. Of course, that goes tight ends, running backs, everyone. But his tandem with John Brown is just amazing. He's getting touchdowns with Brown. Smoke is making catches that Flacco doesn't even throw right. I think it was a touchdown yesterday. John Brown had to adjust, catch the ball, bring it down. So I said it before the season. I'm looking at this tandem to be the tandem for the Ravens, for the AFC, hell, the NFL. How far the Ravens go this season is connected to this tandem, is what I'm saying. But Flacco spread the ball around, and then you can't even talk about Flacco without looking at Lamar Jackson. Preseason, everyone was saying, let's bring in Lamar. Flacco sucks. We want Lamar. There's still people that say that, but I think that number has dropped significantly. And I am really digging what the Ravens are doing with Lamar Jackson. He had a total of 4 carries yesterday, 17 yards. There was a play that he lined up under center, and Flacco lined up out. They're getting him in the game. They know he's the future of the franchise. Whether Flacco sticks around after this year or not, that's anyone's guess, and it's in Flacco's hands entirely. But they're bringing Lamar Jackson into the game. They're putting him in game-time situations. They're getting him the ball sparingly, which is exactly what he needs, so that when it's his time to step up as a starter, that's exactly the experience that he needs. It's the situation that he needs. The NFL is all about these rookie quarterbacks right now. Patrick Mahomes, I spoke about him earlier. He's the talk of the town right now. 4 of the 5 quarterbacks selected in the first round are starting currently. And so you have to look at Lamar Jackson and say, well, he's the 5th. He was selected first round. Why isn't he starting? They don't need him. Not to start. They have Flacco. Flacco's amazing. Flacco's putting up numbers that he hasn't done since 2012, and we all know what happened in 2012. They won the Super Bowl. I'm not calling it yet. But it's hard to argue that this season they're reestablishing themselves as a dominant team in the AFC. They took the Steelers to task. I will admit, in that fourth quarter, I was very nervous. But would they have a 9-point lead with like 4 minutes left? They scored that last field goal. Probably should have eaten up more of the clock. But, you know, that's when fans are just nitpicking, having something to talk about. The Ravens just did what they needed to do. And I, for one, am pleased. I'm happy. Looking around the rest of the NFL, let's look at the AFC North, the rest of the teams. Obviously, 2 teams are already taken care of, Ravens and Steelers. Ravens tied the Bengals for first place. Both teams 3-1. The Browns, though. The Browns, they celebrated getting their first win last week. Everyone went crazy, acted like they won the championship. And I was, again, my Broncos fandom coming out. They were so close to beating the Raiders. I thought they had the game won. I think a lot of people thought they had the game won. It's questionable whether it's bad officiating or not. I think a lot of people are going to say it was when the Browns drew a call that nullified their first down, and they ended up punting away the ball. Raiders go down, score, send it to overtime. Should the Browns have won that game? Probably. But the Browns, they're scary. I think we all know the Steelers aren't the Steelers of the last few years, but they still took them to overtime and tied them first week of the season. They, the other game, I think it was against the Jets. I can't remember right now. That their second loss of the season, it was a close game too. They are 1-2-1. However, it easily could be 4-0. That's how close these games have been. And we all know that the Ravens are headed to Cleveland for their second road game next weekend. I really wasn't going to do any analysis on that game right now, but let's just get into that. Are the Ravens going to have too much of a Steeler hangover? Are they going to be too confident after getting that huge win? And are the Browns, obviously they're better than they used to be. They took the Raiders to overtime. They've had all these close games. And in those years after the Super Bowl till now, when the Ravens weren't that great, the Browns did get some wins on them. And especially here in Baltimore, I remember that. So are the Ravens going to possibly go into Cleveland overconfident after the Steelers win? That's something that, as a fan, I'm looking at. And I think a lot of fans, there's the homers that are being like, Ravens are going to beat everyone. That's not going to happen. But I do think that the Ravens can go in there too overconfident. I think that the Ravens will win the game, but we're going to have to see what happens this coming week leading up. Spoke about the Cincinnati Bengals earlier. They had a hell of a game yesterday. They won on pretty much the last play of the game. It was 7 seconds left, touchdown, and a 1-point win. If they had lost that game, the Ravens would be in first place. So, I think this AFC North is going to be something to behold throughout the season as it goes. And, we're 4 games in. It's easy to look at 4 games and say, it's early in the season. It is early in the season, but also the NFL season is only 16 games. We're 25% through the season already. Teams are starting to separate from each other. Before you know it, season's going to be half over. And, that's just something that that every team is going to have to keep in mind as the season goes on. This season so far in the NFL, we've seen a lot of overtime games. Yesterday, I think there was 3 overtime games. Correct me if I'm wrong if you're on the feed, but I'm pretty sure there's 3 overtime games. Sorry, my tablet crapped out, so I'm not even looking at that anymore. Let's see. This year, I think the NFL has been a great season. One of the best seasons I can remember in a while. It's these close games, these overtime games, these stories that are coming out. Hell, going back to the Ravens Steelers, obviously the fans have such a hatred, but Terrell Suggs and Ben Roethlisberger, they pulled the soccer move, and after the game they exchanged jerseys. There's that much respect between the players that there's just these awesome things going on in the NFL that I'm excited to see as the season progresses. Let's see what I have here. Real quick, there's some baseball going on, and season ended Sunday, but there was a couple of divisions not decided yet. Cubs lost to the Brewers earlier. Jonathan Scope, as we know, he's up with Milwaukee. Brewers take the division. Cubs are in the wild card number 1 slot, so they're going to host another game of, I think, against the loser of the Dodgers-Rockies game. Whoever loses that game gets the second wild card spot. So baseball is pretty exciting too, and I kind of wish Kescia was here because she was so excited about the MLB playoffs coming up that offline we talk about it, things we're going to talk about, and by the time she gets back, the playoffs are going to be more than half over. Assuming some of the series don't go too long. So I think baseball is really exciting right now. The Dodgers, that game's final now. 5-2. LA wins the division there. Colorado Rockies get the second wild card, and they'll be headed to Chicago for the wild card game. And I'm going to get into the rest of MLB a little bit later. But, let's see. You know, one thing I want to talk about while we're on this NFL conversation, I'm eating some crow. Ryan Fitzmagic was not magic yesterday. He, you know, he'd been doing so well with the Buccaneers, and even with the loss to the Steelers last week, he had over 400 yards. First time an NFL quarterback had 3 straight 400-yard games passing. And then yesterday's game, he started the game. Jameis Winston was back from suspension, and you know, it looked like Fitzpatrick was going to. Well, actually, no, he did start. It's not that it looked like he was going to. He did start, and they played the Bears. I haven't been sold on the Bears this season, but I'm going to give all credit in the world. They got Khalil Mack in the trade with the Raiders. Their defense has been phenomenal ever since that trade, and they contained Fitzmagic. So you got to wonder, how much was it that the Buccaneers offense just wasn't clicking, or was it that the Bears defense was that dominant? And then Trubisky, the Bears quarterback, like, dude put up 6 touchdowns. They ended up winning that game 48-10. Jameis Winston, he was put into the game for the second half, so he got his starting job back. They've already said he's going to be a starter moving forward. Like I said, I wasn't sold on the Bears before, but after yesterday's performance, it's hard not to see them as a legitimate contender, especially in that division that has, it's not taking a downturn by any means, but it's definitely anyone's division right now. The Packers and the Vikings, they tied earlier in the season, week 2. That's a situation that could see the Bears taking that division simply because of that tie. Let's see here. So yeah, Fitzmagic, he's not quite as good as he was the first couple games of the season, but I still insist that was a situation of the Chicago defense being way better than the Tampa Bay offense. And Tampa Bay's defense was just trash yesterday. They gave up 48 points. Like, that shouldn't happen, period. And by the half, they were down by 5 touchdowns. That's not Fitzpatrick's fault. You know, that's the defense's fault. So you have to wonder, is there teams out there who are having quarterback problems? Are they going to maybe offer something to Tampa Bay if they're sold on moving forward with Jameis Winston as their quarterback, since they're obviously stepping away from Fitzpatrick as their starter? There's the music. I'm gonna hit Rudy Huff and in the next 7 minutes. We'll be right back.
Join the club that gives you stuff.
Hey, thanks!
Radio Loyalty.
Here's how it works.
Just click on the Radio Loyalty banner right now and sign up. Then, you keep on listening like you already do. But now you earn points. Those points add up, and you can trade them in for stuff in the Radio Loyalty store. Earn more points by sharing your station with friends on Facebook and Twitter, answering surveys, and by using the apps in the New Players App Store. Pretty simple, right?
Radio Loyalty.
Click that banner to join now.
Even as a comedian, if I say a joke and it just might not fit your cup of tea, but it's mine,
yeah,
that's what a comedian is supposed to do.
But people forget
everybody's not going to find your jokes funny. they better find mine funny.
But they forget that, though. They really forget that. They forget that but it's your view. That's why they didn't fire her.
Yeah.
Because her viewpoint is controversial.
Her view. That's the view she sees.
Right.
Everybody is clear to her.
Like they did their reaction to
cellophane.
They did the reaction to the Chris Rock Oscar, and they were talking about Stacey Dash, and I don't think she agrees with Stacey Dash, but she pointed her out as somebody who has an opinion that's just different from everybody else's.
Her opinion is just stupid, though. Stacey Dash she's like a dash. Let's just move on.
I think she's intelligent, but her
You're still going.
opinion.
We're gonna move on. Stacey Dash doesn't need to be talked about. She's irrelevant.
You said her name like 3 times already.
She's irrelevant.
I said it once.
Dash. Dot. So
I couldn't have meant that more. She is so irrelevant. I'm not even gonna say her name. But we're here every Tuesday, and we talk about people
Keyboard
just
Cat,
like that.
Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story, adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund.
Check out this flashback from the Artist Exchange radio show.
That's the biggest thing, is just empowerment. Just get off of the begging line. Just be proud and just get our pride and our dignity back, because as a child, we're taught how to go and beg for a job. Our parents, they literally taught us how to make sure you pull your pants up.
Just a bit outside radio show. Welcome back to the show. Just me tonight. Kescia's off gallivanting the world. She's currently in Croatia, of all places. I am not teasing you. She's actually having the time of her life. Offline we always talk with each other, and she's been looking forward to this trip for so long, and I'm so happy for her that she gets to do this. She flew out. I can't remember where she went first for the layover. Wound up in Rome, jumped on a boat, and now they're in Croatia. And, I can't wait to hear the stories that she has. But let's bring it back here to the realm of Just a Bit Outside radio show, sports, Baltimore. If you're watching us, share the link, share the love, click that share button, put it on your feed. Tell the world, tell people, tell your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad. Tell that stranger that you've been looking at on the bus that you're like, what's wrong with that dude? I've been talking to NFL, got a little bit into baseball with the playoffs going on. There's 2 play-in games, kind of. They were like tiebreaker games for the divisions. But now is the Booty Huff Came Through segment of the show, where we talk about the people or the teams or the stories that did really well, didn't do very well. We've been keeping it to the NFL this week. I just talked about Fitzmagic, and I've made him my come through a couple times. I feel like he should be the Booty Huff, but I just can't do it. Like, I've talked about him enough tonight that I can't. I think one of the people that came through, or the rather the teams, is, as much as I hate to say it, the Patriots. The Patriots, like, I think they do this every year, that they stumble out of the gate, but they don't look too solid. They're trying to find their way. They brought in Josh Gordon from Cleveland. Cleveland shipped his ass off because they were tired of him. And he looked really good. Tom Brady said, like, he sees something in him that he just knows the guy is there to play and is hungry. So I'm looking forward in the season how this tandem could work out. But they came through. They were facing a Miami Dolphin team, divisional rival team, who was 3-0 headed into the game. A lot of people said that Miami wasn't for real, even at 3-0, simply because they hadn't really faced any real competition. And it's hard to argue that, because they march into New England against a team that hasn't been performing too well. They lost. I think they lost 2. I think they were 1-2 heading into that game. But the Patriots, they just absolutely wrecked them. It was 38-7. Tom Brady putting up Tom Brady numbers. It was never even close. The New England Patriots just absolutely destroyed the Dolphins. I'd call them booty huff if I'm not already talking about them now. Let's see, Tom Brady put up 274 yards. He was 25 of 36, 3 touchdowns. The dude can play. We all know that. And it's rather amazing that year after year we see them stumble out of the gate and not do well. Everyone's writing them off right away. And then they go off and do a dominating game like this one. And throughout the rest of the season, we're going to see New England be New England, lead the AFC, probably tease to being in the Super Bowl again, if not actually appearing in the Super Bowl again. But, you know, for their performance so far in the season and coming through yesterday, I'm giving that come through to the Patriots. Defense clicked, offense clicked, 38-7 win over a so far undefeated team. Really can't take that away from them. As for my came through, if any of this technology wants to work with me, talked about the Bears earlier. I don't want to go into that anymore. Oh damn, yeah, the Packers. Like, the Packers have been up and down too. Like, and usually we don't see that out of them. They're a really consistent team, but they didn't exactly start off on the best foot. Hell, Aaron Rodgers went out injured in that first game, and everyone thought his season was over. But he came back, and he led them to a really close victory in that first game. And then they take on the hapless Bills, a Bills team that shocked everyone. What was it, last week when they got a victory? But yeah, the Packers go in and just destroy the Bills. What was this? 22-0 at Lambeau. And I know Howard Ray. He's been on the show before. He's a huge Packers fan. I'm sure he was just absolutely giddy at that performance. Obviously, blanking the Bills isn't a huge accomplishment, but that's who came through. When we come back, I think we might get into some MLB, just a bit outside radio show. We'll be right back.
Black by Demand radio show.
2 years ago. If you broke that bike and it don't work, that's on you, brother. I suggest you get that toolkit out back and then start working with it, right? Yeah. So my son's looking at me like, wow. And I broke down to him how we had got fixing flat tires down to a science. Mm-hmm. You understand what I mean? Sticking the tube in the water. Right? Talk to me, brother. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, critical thinking. And see, and we look at that now, and like kids, they not as on hands like we were back in the day.
That's because now nowadays you don't have to put the bikes together anymore. They can come assembled.
Yeah, everything's coming assembled.
In the store, they ask you like if you want it already assembled.
Right.
Back then, you just got the box with 1 million pieces.
Right, and today I don't think they could work with that.
It's just like the thought process. Nowadays, you get a bike that's already put together. Now, when you were younger, you had to put this bike together.
You got to put it together.
That basically closes your mind into learning how to do something. Now.
Yes.
Now they're giving it something. So, okay, you take this, and this is what it is.
Right.
So now we have to run with this instead of teaching the child. This is how you put this together, so you see the result as this.
Right. Critical thinking. I like that. So look, not to cut you off, Mr. Denise, but let's go to our first commercial break, and then we're gonna come back and finish talking about critical thinking.
Whoa! The moment my son saw a redwood tree,
it's huge.
Is the moment I knew that for him,
you can't even see the top of that thing.
Even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Be Exposed Radio.
Well, if you made them, take care of them.
Yeah, that's
period.
The real. Right. That's the real deal.
It's period.
Right. And all that old money shouldn't go toward this, money should go to. If the child is with one of the parents 24/7, 7 days a week, you don't even come get your child every day. You come get your child once a month maybe, or once every 3 months.
Right.
You cannot dictate where that money goes, especially if the child ain't calling you about nothing. Now, if the child calling you every week, then you can question about where the child support is going. But if every time you pick up the child, they look nice, they ain't complaining about nothing, why are you worrying about where the money go at?
It is what it is. Radio Exposed Radio.
It's a family affair if you want to look at it that way.
It is. I totally agree, and I believe I believe that this wisdom on the wall is going to be a movement, and that's what I believe we are doing.
Welcome back, Just a Bit Outside Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm sitting here with my Raven, nameless little mascot friend. Name him. Throw out a name on the comments. Not Poe, not Edgar or Allen either. You know, the Ravens have used those, and maybe we'll keep them coming back throughout the season. You know, I was going to move on from the Ravens Steelers. However, some news is dropping in Pittsburgh as we speak, and it looks like Le'Veon Bell will be rejoining the Steelers in Week 7. We just finished Week 4. Week 4 actually wraps up tonight with the Chiefs Broncos. So you got to wonder why they're waiting 3 more weeks. There's been rumors that Le'Veon Bell would be traded, that the Steelers were looking for a possible trade partner. The caveat of that is that any trade partner would have to pay him at that franchise tag tender. So you have to wonder how much of this is the Steelers saying, we're 1-2-1. We tied the Browns, we lost to the Ravens. We need what he provides. So that's what's going on in Pittsburgh right now. So yeah, that's an interesting thing. You know, right now I'm gonna get into some of the weekly WTFs. WTFs are brought to you by Killer Dogs. They're up there on Biller and Kenwood. We had them in here a few weeks back. The great people over there. Hot dogs like you just wouldn't believe. I talked about it last week. Was the Baltimore dog is deep fried with like bologna and cheese. It's just ridiculously, you know, extravagant, I guess. Not extravagant because I mean it's bologna, but just the things that they come up with. Keith Dawkins over there and the crew over there, they come up with some amazing things. Kescia was excited about them maybe doing a pizza dog. They have it now. So I'm looking forward to going down there and trying that. Killer Dogs, Bel Air and Kenwood, they're bringing you the weekly WTF. Keeping in the realm of NFL for one of these is Earl Thomas, safety with the Seattle Seahawks. And maybe you've seen this, maybe you haven't, I don't know. But he was pretty much the last piece of the Legion of Boom left in Seattle. Unfortunate, like he breaks his leg in yesterday's game, takes a you know, obviously a horrible injury. Dude has a broken leg. He's on the cart that they drive out there to cart him away because he's not walking. And even though he's in that pain, has a broken leg, he turns to the Seahawk sideline. Not the Cardinal sideline, but the Seahawk, his own team sideline. And uses a little sign language on him, a little flipping the bird, his own team. He's in a contract dispute with them. And that's just kind of how the Legion of Boom goes down. Flipping off his own team. Earl Thomas, WTF. There was another horrible injury, actually with a Bengal yesterday. And that was just a nasty one. I know Kescia's glad to not see it because she's very squeamish. Tight end Tyler Elfert. And you know, you gotta wonder how these networks, why they do what they do, because they just replayed that thing over and over. And like, you just see his ankle like snapping 90 degrees, nasty. But his season's over too, unfortunate. Even though he's a Bengal, even though they're a divisional rival, you never want to see anyone go down injured. So Tyler Eifert, we hope that you are able to move on and recuperate and join your team again next year. Here's a WTF that I saw and I just had to bring up because it shows the entitlement that people have in this world. It comes out of St. Louis, Missouri, and it's a high school. A mother, identified as Jane Doe, has filed a federal lawsuit against her son's high school because her 16-year-old son was not picked for the soccer team. I'm not making this up, people. I am not making it up. I wish I was. She's identified as John Doe, or Jane Doe. Her son is identified as John Doe because she doesn't want him being identified and being bullied. I'm just going to read some of the article here. It says, the woman named in court papers as Jane Doe filed suit in U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Missouri last week. She and the boy's stepfather, who is a lawyer handling the case, want a judge to issue a temporary restraining order against the district and put their son on the junior varsity soccer team. Junior varsity, it's not even varsity. The woman says her son, a junior in high school who played JV soccer for the Ladue High School last year, tried out for the soccer team in August. He didn't make the varsity team. The family accepts that, but they are upset he wasn't then named to the junior varsity team. The family says they were told that the juniors aren't put on JV. The district gives preference on JV to freshmen and sophomores who have more years to polish their talents. You ready for WTF? The family says that's age discrimination. The kid is 16 years old. How much age discrimination can that really be? The district historically lets female juniors play on the girls' JV team, according to the suit. The boys' family says that's not fair treatment of the sexes. So not only is it age discrimination, it's sexual discrimination because he's a boy. The boy's stepfather said the problems go beyond Ladue. There are many schools across the country that have the policy that make you either make varsity as a junior or you're out of the program, he said, and that's an illegal policy. If someone said, cut all the blacks, that would be illegal, and it's illegal for age 2. I'm not sure I follow that dude's logic. In court filings, the district says the boy was not put on JV again because it was not best for the competitive development of the players in the program. The district also says that being on a sports team is a privilege, not a right for the students. The students don't have a constitutionally protected right to be on a team. The suit also alleges that Dave Ehrenberg, the head soccer coach, favored students who attended his summer soccer camps and paid him a fee, something the suit alleges is a pay-to-play scheme. You know, I'll actually give the parents a little bit of credence on that, because if that's the case, if he's only taking these kids that paid to go to a soccer camp, you know, there's something fishy about that. The district says that not everyone who attended the coach's voluntary camp, 18 sessions at $15 per session, that's some bank right there, made a soccer team. 7 students made a team without having attended soccer camps. Okay, that's a fair number, I guess. The boy's mother asked the judge for permission to identify her son by the pseudonym John Doe because in challenging the actions of a popular coach, she feared her son would be subjected to bullying and harassment if people knew his real name. Team as a freshman, the stepfather said. He said the family didn't complain then. We told him to man up and up his game, the lawyer said. He had to develop his game. The family hired a private coach for the boy. So these people got money. I mean, stepdaddy was a lawyer. That tells you a little bit, but they're hiring a private coach. Come on. They just want to get their money worth out of this. He joined a St. Louis club team and he improved, the stepfather said. He was one of the leading scorers on the junior varsity team last year. The stepfather said he is going to file court papers under seal, naming other players who made varsity with way worse stats than the boy who was cut. I don't follow the logic there right there, and I'm going to say soccer season, it ends, what, like November? I mean, the season for this high school team is already half over. So if they're ending in October, November, and tryouts are in August, you know, if he wasn't keeping up with his skills, maybe he had those skills to grade. Maybe these other kids that made the team that didn't have as good of stats, maybe when they came to tryouts, they just did better than him. Stats are one thing, but at that point they're like 8 months old. That's ridiculous. Let's see. The stepfather said the coach's decision has left the boy humiliated. Everyone is under the impression that he is a poor player and we're a bunch of crybabies. Actually, it's kind of right there. The stepfather said, but no, he had a successful season last year, and from the statistics, it appears he should have made varsity. This suit is about Ledoux refusing to follow the law with respect to age discrimination. The family first appealed the coach's ruling to district administration, who sided with the coach. The family then appealed to the superintendent, who also sided with the coach. The family then filed a complaint with the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights, but the office couldn't force the schools to put the boy on a team, so the family turned to federal court. The stepfather is one of 2 attorneys who filed a suit. He said his firm has already racked up about $100,000 in attorney's fees, as he has been working on this case since August. The soccer season is half over. You know, I see stuff like this and I'm just like, people complain about youth sports. You know, usually it's about the parents in the stands. Sometimes it's parents complaining that kids don't get enough playing time. A lot of people complain about participation trophies. I will agree with some of that. I will give credence to some of those complaints. But a family going as far as to file a federal lawsuit because their son didn't make junior varsity, or varsity, I get, because he tried out for varsity. That's just, well, you know, the name of the segment is WTF. Yeah, I just can't get on that. like, it's just teaching this kid that if he doesn't earn something, then he can just file a lawsuit, especially if his stepfather's a lawyer. Like, that's just ridiculous. The dude, he worked hard, I get it. But sometimes even the hardest of work, you don't get what you've tried to get. It's just that simple. Sometimes people are better than you in sports. Sometimes, you know, I'm flabbergasted that this has actually gone to federal court for a high school junior varsity soccer team. I think that's all I want to say on that one. That's just ridiculous. Let's see, how much time do we have here? Got a couple minutes, okay. We still have our friend here. Name him. Throw a name down there. Again, not Edgar Allan or Poe. Let's see, I already read the Le'Veon Bell. Oh, over the weekend. I'm going to jump into NBA here. And again, like, I wish Kescia was here for this, because she is a Lakers fan just like me. She's not a LeBron James fan, just like me. And LeBron debuted with the Lakers in preseason play. The Lakers didn't win. It's preseason, who cares? But his first shot, he hit a three-pointer, and it was pretty damn beautiful, if I'm going to say so myself. I'm still not your damn fan, though, LeBron. I can't get on the LeBron train. But when we come back, I think we're going to talk a little baseball, finally. MLB playoffs, Orioles, just a bit outside.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin' Street? Girlin' Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You want to start off?
I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles.
Right.
They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run.
Mm-hmm.
The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course, won with a home run.
Hit the home run.
Right.
They were going into that national series. It seemed like they were doing so well, and they just crapped out. They got that game postponed, so who knows when they're going to replay that or play that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first not for the night.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and weigh in on my who's not, and I'm going to talk about the San Diego Padres.
The Padres. That's okay. You
Padres
just took my answer.
They're in last place in the NL West. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Their run differential is a negative 65, which is just horrible. So when you have, well, let me just talk about run differential a little bit. It's kind of like the
how much you're winning or losing your games by, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like the margin of victory, kind of.
Right.
So when you're in a negative number, that means that you're.
Then your average game, you're losing
by a whole lot.
Right.
I mean, a number like negative 65, this early in the season is pretty rough.
That's horrible.
The pitching numbers pretty much support this stat right here. I mean, the team ERA is 4.70, which is 26th in the league. They have 126 walks allowed. They acquired Jared Weaver in the offseason, and he really has not panned out. He's off to one of the worst starts in any of the pitchers in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
He's 0-4 with a 6.05 ERA. In May alone, he already has 12 earned runs in May. And, another one of their pitchers, Clayton Richard, he's 2-4 with a 4.34 ERA. And, in May, he has 6 earned runs and 12 innings pitched. So they're not pitching well. And on top of that, they are also not batting well.
Right. But it kind of sucks because Manuel Margot is doing pretty good. His the past few at bats, his last.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Busy me. So, anyway...
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. My friends keep commenting on my comment. Oh, there's another one. So many comments on my comment.
Oh, I can't wait to watch TV tonight. Playoffs!
Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Pew, pew. Wait. Mom, what? Huh?
What? Hold
What'd you say? Wait a second, what?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is. Because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back, Just a Bit Outside Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com. You're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, everywhere that you can find us. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to download the podcast, to watch us live, to interact with us. Be on the lookout for more people's polls. I'm going to throw up something probably regarding the Browns-Ravens game that's coming up. So look out for that. Throw out some ideas, things that you want us to look at more. We don't really talk about much college football unless, it's the unfortunate goings-on that's happening at University of Maryland following the passing of Jordan McNair. So if you're a college football fan and you want us to talk more, SEC, or I think Alabama's ranked #1 now. Throw it down there. Give us a shout out on the page. Comment on the show. Whatever you want to see. We're always looking to talk about whatever brings you to us. Right now, going on, starting up today was the MLB playoffs, and like I said earlier, it's an exciting time because in the NL, the National League, there were 2 divisions that, these teams, one of my biggest gripes with the Major League Baseball season, I personally feel that the season is too long at 162 games. That's a whole lot of baseball to be played. But at the end of the day, they've played 162 games, and the season ends, And over there in the West, you had the Dodgers and the Rockies. They were tied. They both won 91 games. And then you had the Central, where the Brewers and the Cubs play 162 games. At the end of the season, they were tied. So it's just exciting to see these play-in games. All the teams that made the playoffs had been decided, but these games were to decide who won the division and who won the wild card. And those two games have both been decided. The Brewers take the Central, so the Cubs have the first wild card. And then the Dodgers, not too long ago, wrapped up the game against the Rockies. So they have the NL West, and the Rockies get the second wild card, which I believe tomorrow or the next day, the Rockies will be traveling to Chicago for that wild card game, play-in game. The teams that won the division in the NL, we have the Atlanta Braves, which, what a story out there. I am not a Braves fan at all. I detested them since like the 80s. But, Nick Markakis, he's just been on fire down there. He's been amazing. We hated to see him leave the O's. And he's been out there like 3 years now. And he's been doing phenomenal for them. This year especially so. So the Braves, they take the NL East. The Brewers take the Central, and the Dodgers take the West, with the winner of the Rockies and the Cubs moving on to the playoffs for the divisional series. And I believe the Braves are the number one seed. I'm not positive. If my tablet wants to work with me here, I'm gonna find that out for sure. And then over there in the AL side, that has been pretty much decided. No play-in games necessary for them. Obviously, the East, the Boston Red Sox just ran off with the best record in baseball, and the Yankees really weren't too far behind. They ended up 8 games back, but they still had like 101 wins. So you can't discount the Yankees just because they're getting in on a wild card. But let's see, the Yankees have the wild card. The Indians win the Central, and then the Astros have the West, which of those wrapped up their season yesterday against the Astros. They took the game, the O's, they won the last game of the season, which, when you only win 47 games out of 162, every win is you're counting your blessings. The Astros, obviously, they had clinched their division. It's kind of like at the end of the football season when they're not playing their strongest players to get them rested up. But, it's still a sport, it's still a competition, and the Orioles won the last game of the season against the team that won the AL West. And then the Athletics and the Yankees will be playing for that wild card spot to go forward in the divisional series championships. Looking at the NL, and I know I've said it so many times tonight, but God, I wish Kescia was here because she is so stoked about the playoffs. And I think this conversation, we probably could have done an entire show just on this. Probably not because the Ravens Steelers played this weekend, but I don't think I've been this excited for an MLB playoff since the Orioles were in it a couple years ago. The Braves, the Brewers, the Dodgers, and the Rockies, you can't go wrong with any of those teams. But I'm going to pick that up on the other side of the break, just Get Outside Radio Show.
Hi,
I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You use Tearless Baby Shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bathwater to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe, but are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Welcome back, Just a Bit Outside Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com. It's 8:30. Like, this show has been going so fast, which, to be honest, when I found out I'd be doing it by myself without the person I invited, I was kind of nervous. But tonight's been going by great, and so much to talk about. It's been so good. Talking about the MLB playoffs. I'm going to get into NL here. Obviously, the Cubs and the Rockies, they play the wild card game. The winner of that game moves on to a series with the Brewers for the division. I can't see the Cubs losing twice at home in these playoff/wild card games. The Rockies have been amazing, but they kind of hit a really bad slide there the last several weeks of the season, if not a month. They regained themselves. They gave the Dodgers a run for their money, but I'm going to go with the Cubs on that one. So we'll see the Cubs and the Brewers, my opinion. And then the Braves and the Dodgers are going to be battling it out for the other divisional series. And I think that starts in LA. So LA with the home field advantage there. Kescia and I talked about it when we were looking at the NL West, and I don't see a way that the Dodgers don't take that series. They have been on absolute fire the last month. After the Machado trade, they kind of went downhill. They were struggling to find an identity. They made these trades to try to put together a playoff run, and it just wasn't working. And then, like, that last month of the season, they just went on fire, and everything gelled, and I can't see that slowing down in the playoffs. Braves have been great, but I think the Dodgers are going to take that series. And I think overall we're probably going to see the Dodgers representing the NL in the series. I know that's the call like every year, but it's hard to go against them. They've been so outstanding. In the American League, we have, let's see, the Yankees and the Athletics. They're battling for the wild card on Wednesday. And the Athletics have been just ridiculously good. They started off the season so shaky. They were expected to be bottom of the barrel. But they put together this win streak that just, a whole bunch of wins. I think they ended up with like 91 wins at the end of the season, which is phenomenal. How they did that is beyond me. But they're going into Yankee Stadium. They're going into Yankee Stadium on Wednesday. One game wild card game, which I was just reading a little bit ago that there's a fan poll that they want to see the wild card games be moved into a series, whether it's 3 or 5 games, I don't know. I'm on the fence about that. I think a series is a good idea because that's what baseball is built on. Like, even throughout the season, they play series. They don't just play individual games. But the playoffs already go into November. Is that really what you want to see? Do you want to see, like, November, early December baseball? I don't. So it depends on how they manage that. I wouldn't be surprised to see them start the season, like, mid-March to make it happen. But we'll see. Yankees and Athletics in the wild card game in Yankee Stadium, and the Yankees are 101 game win season. I see the Yankees taking that. I kind of want the A's to win though. I think I'll be rooting for the A's and expecting the Yankees to win. And then that leaves the winner of that moving on to face the Red Sox. Yankees and the Red Sox are old rivals. They're divisional rivals. They've played each other all season. They know the ins and outs of each other. The Red Sox really turned it on towards the end of the season when it was pretty much tied up. They had a couple of games with the Yankees, and it was really hard for them to win in Boston, the Yankees, that is. If their Red Sox are able to keep that up, there's no way the Red Sox lose to the Yankees. And then we have the Indians and the Astros. Astros defending world champions. The Indians, they've looked really good all season. The Astros, they've had their moments up and down. I don't want to say Cleveland has been more consistent, but I think these are two teams that have been chugging along so positively and so determined to make it back to the playoffs. The Indians, they lost to the Cubs a couple years ago in the World Series, and then we have the Astros, who won last year. Lots of pressure on a defending world champion. It's hard to go against the Astros in that situation and that team. They've looked really good all year. I think, me personally, I'm going to have to go with the Astros on that one. But in the AL, there's just no discounting the Red Sox. Best team in baseball. They've looked phenomenal all year. I think they set a win record for their franchise. Will they have like 109 wins? So I see the Red Sox versus Dodgers in this playoff situation. Next Monday, obviously, we'll have these wild card games played. We'll be a couple games into each series, and maybe the playoffs are going to look different. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. And I think that's going to be it for Major League Baseball. Season ended yesterday. we're on to the playoffs. Just got to see how the wild cards shape up. These playing games have been amazing, though. So it's an exciting time to be a baseball fan. Moving right along, though. I don't know if we did it last week. No, we were at the Brass Tap, so we didn't get a chance to do it. It was kind of an abbreviated show. So I'm going to give you a little bit of real on wrestling, or combat sports, MMA, all that stuff. First up, Conor McGregor. We talked about it last week, and I didn't realize when he signed his 8-fight deal, he was fighting this Saturday. Was it UFC 229, 226, something like that? He's fighting the kid Khabib. Long last name, I can't even pronounce, so I'm not even going to try to butcher it. But this kid is 26-0 though, and in their pre-fight interviews, they've been kind of going at it. McGregor, actually this kid Khabib, he was in the bus that McGregor attacked earlier in the year in New York City. You know, Conor McGregor and his team, they like broke windows on this bus. They attacked it for no reason. This kid said that he was laughing on the bus because he kind of thought the situation was funny, but he has gone hard on Conor. He was like calling him an alcoholic, and I don't know if that's you know, being stereotypical of Irish people or what, but this kid is I'm torn on who to go for in this, because Conor is an asshole, we all know that, but the dude is amazing in the ring or in the octagon, and he has been the biggest money man the UFC has ever seen, which is saying a lot. You know, when you look at the history with Tito Ortiz and what's his name? It just flashed through my head. Conor McGregor has been the biggest draw. He had the fight with Mayweather. But this kid is 26-0. This kid apparently is a huge trash talker. He talks to his opponents while fighting them in the octagon. And he said he's not going to stop doing that just because it's Conor McGregor. He said he's going to alter the way he speaks to them. But he plays a huge psychological game. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at UFC this weekend. I'm actually looking for McGregor to lose that match. It's an interesting matchup. Khabib, 26-0, young, a lot younger than McGregor. And McGregor's like 28-3, something like that. He does have a couple losses under his belt. He's not getting any younger. The fact that he signed an 8-fight contract with UFC surprised me, because he was very much looking at 1-fight deals in the last couple of years, because he knew he was in demand, he could go anywhere. So maybe he knows his time as a fighter is coming to an end, and he wanted to get the most for his money there. Coming up this Saturday is also Saturday, October 6th, in Melbourne, Australia. We have WWE Super Showdown. Not one of the regular pay-per-views, it's one of their network specials that they're doing simply because they own the network and they can do it. And they've pushed it on Raw and SmackDown. They're trying to make it something that people see. Hopefully it turns out better than the Saudi Arabia show earlier in the year that turned out to be like a glorified house show, in that nothing spectacular happened, no huge title changes, no huge storyline advancements. This show coming up in Melbourne, Australia, one of the headlining fights is Undertaker returning against Triple H. They had a fight at WrestleMania a few years ago that was called The End of an Era. Apparently that era didn't end. Shawn Michaels is going to be in Triple H's corner. Kane is going to be in Undertaker's corner. And rumors are that this fight is going to lead to a tag team fight in Saudi Arabia coming up in November. Seeing Shawn Michaels make his first appearance in the ring as a wrestler in like 8 years, I think. And it would be him and Triple H versus Undertaker and Kane. And there's even rumors that we'll see Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series. Undertaker's been known for only fighting once a year on WrestleMania the last, decade or so. So it's kind of surprising to see him take so many matches. He might even appear at the Saudi Arabia show. But that's where it all begins. Melbourne, Australia, this Saturday, Undertaker versus Triple H. There's The Shield, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins against the Dogs of War, which is Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler, and Braun Strowman. Like, Braun Strowman's like one of the biggest names in the company right now. Honestly, I'm not too interested in that match. I don't know. The Shield reuniting is always really cool, but I don't know. I could do without it. And it's kind of just putting Braun Strowman in a storyline. The fans were ready for him to be champion. They didn't pull the trigger on that because of Brock Lesnar. So, I don't know. It's like the longer that they just kind of do nothing with him, I don't care about Strowman as much as other people have. However, the next match I do care about. I raved about it at SummerSlam. It's a rematch. It's AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe for the WWE Championship. It's being advertised as a no disqualification, no count-out match because the general manager page put it, there must be a winner, and that didn't happen at SummerSlam. It was kind of a screw job ending, but it really worked. It fit the storyline going. And these two guys, I mean, they were fighting long before they ever got to the WWE. They had huge runs in TNA together, and now that they're duking it out for the WWE Championship, it's going to be amazing. It always is when these guys get in the ring. Ronda Rousey and the Bella Twins versus the Riot Squad. Ronda Rousey, since she's come to WWE, she has put on clinics that you wouldn't believe for someone so new to the business, which obviously she has all that training from UFC and MMA, but wrestling is a little bit different. She's got to learn how to pull her punches, something her teammates in the Bella Twins kind of forgot in their time off because Brie Bella legitimately knocked out Liv Morgan, gave her a concussion last week, and not a lot of people are happy about that. She kicked her in the face twice, really hard. So you got to wonder what's going on there. I'd be surprised to see Brie Bella get that much ring time because of that. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. There's an interesting match. John Cena, who hasn't been seen in WWE for a while because he's off filming movies now, teaming up with Bobby Lashley against Kevin Owens and Elias. If you haven't been watching, Elias is such a great character. He's like this guitarist, musician, and he always puts down the city that they're in. He gets that cheap heat, but he's so entertaining. Like, check it out. Let's see. Daniel Bryan and The Miz go one-on-one. The winner gets a future WWE Championship match. Let's see. The New Day against The Bar. The New Day, Kofi Kingston. He just surpassed over 253 days as tag team champion, combining all his championship reigns, I think, which is the most in company history, and he has over 1,000 days with all of his combined reigns of like singles titles and everything. Kofi's just amazing. Let's see, we have Asuka and Naomi versus the Iconics. The Iconics are from Australia. They kind of like to book people to lose in their native hometowns and countries, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Iconics lose. But I dig this team, and I think the Iconics should win. And then we have the Cruiserweight champions, Cedric Alexander against Buddy Murphy. I hear 205 Live is pretty good, but I haven't been checking it out as much as maybe I should. When they fought at, or when Cedric Alexander was on the card at SummerSlam, it was a good match, so I'll give it a shot. But we're just about to wrap it up. Come on back to the Outside Radio Show.
We're rewarding you for something you already do, listening to us. It's Radio Loyalty, and it's an easy way for you to get free stuff. All you do is sign up. Go ahead and click the banner now. You'll earn points as you listen. Points you can trade in for great products and services in the Radio Loyalty store. You can earn even more points when you share your favorite station with friends on Facebook and Twitter. Radio Loyalty. It's free to sign up, so click the banner to join now.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live United. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusi. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
My name is Meera Batra. I have been in this country 32 years, and this is how I live united. America has always been the land of promise, and in my community, many families have come for a better life. Coming from another culture myself, I know the desire to become part of a community, to feel at home, and to gain the tools for our children and families to succeed. So I advocate for these families with United Way. United Way empowers them to look beyond their histories and to see what opportunities are available. We help them get involved with their kids' schools, network within the community, and when we do, we unite them. We make the community stronger. What I do is something I wish someone had done for me, and I am so grateful I am able to. My name is Meera Batra. I help families see opportunities and succeed. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard?
Welcome back. Just a bit outside radio show on BeExposedRadio.com. You're checking us out on Facebook, YouTube. All the places that I've mentioned throughout the show every week. Google Play Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Check us out throughout the week. Download past shows. Watch old shows on Facebook and YouTube. And we appreciate you guys being here each and every week. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I know it's been kind of a slow and awkward show without two people here to riff off each other, but I think it's gone pretty well. Like I said earlier, I was a little bit nervous when I found out that my guest couldn't make it, but we got through. I got through, and I want to thank everyone for being there. Monday Night Football has been going on. Actually, it's at the end of the first quarter, and it's all tied up 3-3. So Denver and KC going neck and neck there. I'm actually surprised it's just field goals so far, especially with Patrick Mahomes' high-powered offense with Kansas City. But that Denver defense is decent. I don't think it's as good as it has been in years past, but obviously they're doing the job so far. I don't necessarily have a feel-good story to end the show like we usually do, but I have a story. Maybe this would have been more of a WTF, but it has been a WTF in the past. Kescia and I have talked about it. The Celtics' Kyrie Irving, we all know, He, last year came out as a flat earther. It says that the Earth is flat. He has actually apologized for saying that. He said he didn't realize the effect that it would have. Let's see. Speaking at the Forbes Under 30 Summit in Boston, was asked at the conference to state once and for all which side he is on the debate. Irving explained he was big into conspiracy theories in February 2017 when he made the comments, and the attention he received made him realize the power of voice. Even if you believe in that, don't come out and say that stuff. That's for intimate conversations, because perception of how you're received, it changes. So it doesn't necessarily sound like he's rolling back his belief in it, that he believes he's a big conspiracy theory person. But you know, it's interesting to see him come out and say something like that. Let's see. There's no more baseball going on because both games were played earlier. And I think that's pretty much all we have going. Look out for the people's polls. I'm going to be putting up a new poll probably tomorrow related to the Browns-Ravens game that's coming up this Sunday. I'm going to be working on getting more options rather than just two. And, you know, always looking for suggestions on what you want to see out of us, because we're asking you to take time out of your day and check us out. So we're always here to you know, keep you entertained and tuned in. Actually, maybe I will make a poll asking for a name of this little guy right here. It's going to be the Jabbo mascot. Be on the lookout for Jabbo Extra, probably Thursday night's NFL game. Going to put a video up on who's going to win that game, and a Jabbo Extra also for Sunday's game against the Browns versus the Ravens, where I'll drop my score prediction on that one. I've already said I think the Ravens are going to win, but you know, who knows what's going to happen in the next couple days. Something might happen that no one's expecting to change the outlook there. So I'll drop the extra with my score prediction, but I appreciate you all coming down. And as Kescia likes to end the show with, Baltimore. Spread love, yeah.
The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com.
I was meeting with a friend yesterday, and I've gotten to the point where don't ask me a question because the truth is going to come out. And
exactly.
Just don't do it.
If you ain't looking for the truth, don't come to me.
Don't do it because I can't hold my tongue. And she wants to be this stylist, boutique, but you're not doing anything in that nature, and I can't take you seriously if you're not doing those things. And I understood why people didn't take me seriously, because I found myself in somebody else's lane. I was good at what I was doing and what I wanted to be, but I wasn't doing it for me. So how can I ask you to take me seriously if I'm living in somebody else's shoes?
And nobody can do what you do, and I think that that's a big problem that people face now. Like, you see what somebody else is doing and you want to do that when that's not your lane.
That's not your lane.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's popular. It's getting that person money.